Let's take a look at my brand new limited edition Moby-Dick from the Folio Society. Welcome everyone to the Zillotronics channel. Today I'll be taking a look at my very first limited edition book from the Folio Society, which just so happens to be Moby-Dick. Came in this beautiful brown cardboard package. Nothing jiggling around in here. Let's go ahead and get this thing opened up and we'll take a closer look at the book. Here is the package, fresh from the Folio Society. Box is very durable feeling, no damage. I did remove the label from the exterior of the box, and also on the exterior are a couple stickers with the label of Moby-Dick LE, title code MYDL with the number 562. Most likely that is the number on my edition of Moby-Dick. No matter when you order it, first or last or whenever in between, your number is going to be random. So even though when I ordered my copy only a few had been sold before me, it looks like I'm probably number 562. So not a big deal. I don't care what number I am. So some people did get kind of upset on that if they figure if they ordered the first one, they'll get the first one, but it doesn't work out that way, at least with Folio Society. Anyways, that's the look at the exterior of the box. Let's go ahead and get this thing cut open and we'll take a look at the book itself. Here are the contents of the package. You can lightly see the Moby-Dick lettering through this Christmas paper wrapping we got here. Let's go ahead and get this removed and see how he looks. You can see that it's got a nice cloth clamshell here, Folio Society lettering, and Moby-Dick in a silver foil type material. Moby-Dick on the front. A little bit of smudging, it looks around the M. Not too bad though, but did want to point it out. A little bit of smudging around the H for Herman, Melville, but a little bit around the M. Zoom in so you can see that. Just want to make sure you can see everything going on here. Other than that, the clamshell looks quite nice. A little bit of fading on the silver foil on the M. A little bit on the K, but you know, nothing crazy. Let's get the clamshell opened up. Interior of the box is like a velvet finish, super nice. With that folian frame here. And of course we have the book within, also wrapped in some paper. Well, the paper is kind of worn through at the corner a little bit here. Did see some people complaining about some issues with the gilding having rubbed off a little bit, so hopefully I don't have that, but we shall see. Yep, I think I have the same about, it's not horrible, but do want to point it out. A little bit worn right here. You can see it's just a little bit faded off. You know, not a deal breaker for me, but you know, if you're a stickler for details, also a little bit down here, it's already kind of missing. Hasn't even been opened yet, but you can see here a little bit of the gilding here faded off already. Book itself looks beautiful. With the clamshell here out of the way. It's got the red leather with the white leather whale. Looks pretty sweet. Very nicely bound. Sharp corners, don't see any damage on the corners, anything like that. So really the only thing so far is the faded gilding, which I've seen other people complain about. Could be a feature. Let's go ahead and crack her open. Got the signed page, copy 562, so that does match the package itself. So when you get your package, if you're ordering this or have ordered it, the number on the box tells you the number that you will receive. Paper quality feels super nice. I love the blue-black print. Crisp looking pages with some, I guess you could say, the thickness of the paper. You can see through a little bit to the contents behind the page. Not horrible, it doesn't really affect the readability, but it does show the thickness of the page. It is a long book, 600 something pages. So if you went with super thick paper, this book would be twice as thick. So it's kind of a trade-off, how thick in quality and the acid neutral paper do you want versus readability and stuff like that. But when you're actually looking at the text itself here, I don't really see anything on the other side. So it looks pretty good overall. Font looks nice. Layout looks really nice. Forgot how many art pieces are in here, so we'll just try to shuffle through, see which ones we can find. I've got a little piece of paper in here talking about leather used for this edition is handcrafted, use time-honored techniques to produce a durable and unique binding natural product, and has some markings and characteristics that are an inherent part of this beauty. So, little note, I guess, if you see a little bit of, each time they bind one of these, the leather's going to be slightly different. The texture and grain is going to be slightly different between copies. So, not to be worried if you see that. But the text itself looks super nice. Here we go. Here's some artwork. The artwork is on a thicker page. Looks very nice. I don't have the other limited edition moby-dick that they put out, so I can't compare it with that, but I've heard that edition is really nice as well. Here we go. It's double page spread. Here is the ribbon bookmark. It did leave a little bit of an impression on the page here. You can see right here of where the ribbon bookmark laid. Probably not good to have it laying across on an art page, but it is what it is. But I will fold it over on a non-art page going forward. Let's find some more art. Here we go. Oop. Missed another art piece. Here we are. That's a nice scene. Here we have a fold out. Let's go ahead and lay this flat. If I can figure out how to get this thing up. There we are. Here we go. That's pretty sweet. Some whale comparisons here. Pretty awesome. I like how it looks like almost like a weathered antique document tucked within the book. All right, let's see if we got anything else in here. Right there. Another double page spread. There we go. This is the info on the type, font, and everything. So it says it's been typeset Folio Society in Gaudi Old Style, 2 colors at Meminger Medicentrums AG in Memmingen, Germany, on Arena Natural Smooth paper. And the illustrations are printed on Gardapat 13 Chiara paper, and it's been bound at Joseph Spinner, Grobujuna Berry, something like that, in Arterswehr, Germany, in full red leather with a white leather insert label and overblocked in black foil with a design by the artist. Clamshell boxes in blocked Coloretta cloth with a foil blocked white leather inset label. Box is lined with suede Lux Alaska cloth, and the limitation label has been printed letterpress by Hand and I London and is signed by the introducer and the artist. So in case you guys are wondering about all that, that answered it right there. So let's go ahead and put this into this bookmark back in the book. We'll do one more quick look around. Some people don't like the red cover. We're, I guess, hoping for the blue, like a blue leather, the white whale. For me, I think the red looks great. Some people are saying this is like the US American edition because it's red, white, blue clamshell. I think it looks nice, definitely very striking. And yeah, let's go ahead and do a quick few comparisons with some other editions from some other places. I got a book from Easton Press, and I actually have another Folio Society non-limited edition. We'll just do a couple quick comparisons, and then we'll go ahead and move on. Here is a Folio Society edition of Neil Gaiman's American Gods. This is a cloth-bound book, and just to show you guys the size differences, this is pretty much a typical size for a Folio Society non-limited edition book. As you can see here, the Moby-Dick limited edition is significantly larger. This does, of course, has no page gilding. It does have some beautiful artwork, but it also is not quite as drastic on the curve of the rear binding here. But yeah, just show you guys size. And then, of course, pages are pretty similar, but the Moby-Dick appears to be much brighter. You look at the paper here, and of course, we got the paper here. You guys can see the Moby-Dick limited edition paper is a bright white, very nice to read, almost glaringly bright, versus American Gods, which is a more yellowish looking paper. And yeah, so I'll give you guys an idea, some size right there. And I also did bring a deluxe edition of the Fountainhead from Easton Press. And this is a relatively expensive book to give us a good comparison. And we'll go ahead and look at size comparison with this book. Fountainhead is actually a much larger width-wise book than the Moby-Dick limited edition, as you can see here. And another thing to note, the Fountainhead Easton Press Deluxe Edition gilding is much more uniform. You can see here it's a little bit, I can push it together, got a little bit here, but other than back by the binding here and this edge here, the Fountainhead is just more uniform. It doesn't have any streakiness anywhere on it. It's a better gilding job. It's kind of apparent in the bottom too here. The Fountainhead also is leather and super nice. And we take a look at this book real quick. Doesn't have the crystal white pages like Moby-Dick here. Jump back over to Moby-Dick and the Fountainhead. So that gives you guys an idea. Bright white paper, more yellow, kind of like the other Folio Society book that I showed you guys. This one does have a bunch of artwork as well. Some people don't like this artwork, some love it. I like this artwork. if I can find it, here we go. These are actually glued in, as you can see here. And they also offer, on the non-double spreads, a clear protective sheet to prevent the artwork from getting damaged from the ribbon bookmark that we saw a little bit of impression from the Moby-Dick limited edition. So this keeps the artwork protected. And yeah, so another comparison here. I don't remember the font or the exact paper type, but it is acid neutral, just like the Moby-Dick limited edition. See if I can find the bookmark here. And this has, I would say, probably better foiling. I don't see any splotchiness in the foiling like I do with the clamshell for Moby-Dick. This is pretty universally perfect all the way around. I didn't see a single blemish anywhere on this book. So yeah, maybe quality check a little bit different, or maybe how often they make these. Can't really say. So this is the slipcase for it. Definitely not nearly as fancy as the clamshell, but still nice. Has velvet liner, nice little artwork that's glued on, nice and centered, which is another thing I wanted to point out with Moby-Dick that I did notice just a minute ago. So let's go ahead and close the book up, move her off to the side, and back to the clamshell. So they are hand-done letterpress label, as they mentioned in the text. Well, if you look closely, this label is not centered and squared within the impression they have on the clamshell. So I don't know if you can see this. I'll lay it down, maybe I can zoom a little bit. Here we are. So if you look, the impression runs down to here. So it actually is sitting, instead of being like this, it's sitting crooked, slightly crooked. So if you look on it straight on, it's crooked with the clamshell. So it should have been tilted a little bit like this. And you can see the impression of where they're supposed to stick these labels and glue them in there. Well, you can see the impression where it's not sitting flush in that impression. So kind of a missed mark on that. And then point out again, it's almost like this got crushed a little bit right here. And you can see the color, I guess from the M when they did the letterpress, is almost smushed out around the M here and a little bit around the H. Yeah, I mean, it's not super, horrible. The crookedness is probably more annoying than anything, but did want to point it out. You can check your copy if you get one, if you have the same issue, or if it's just, it is glued on by hand, they mentioned. So just wanted to point that out. And then, of course, the missing foil. It's like it's not fully bound. Like when they took the foil off and they applied it and they removed the excess, some of it's missing from like the M, a little bit from the O, a little bit from the K. But, it is what it is. I do like this velvet liner. As we'll place the book back within. We'll close this one out. Let's go ahead and wrap this video up. That about sums up this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Overall thoughts on the Moby-Dick limited edition from Folio Society is kind of mixed. The book itself, beautiful book. I love the artwork style. Some people don't like it. It's kind of a love-hate. I love the red leather with the white leather whale and everything other than the little bit of fading on the gilding is seems like that might be a systemic issue with most of their copies, because I've seen numerous posts online mentioning that same issue where it's worn on the corners, top and bottom. So I'm not sure if that just happens during the manufacturing process. As you can see with the Fountainhead from Easton Press Deluxe, no issues with their gilding being worn anywhere, and I have a number of other Folio Society books with, some kind of sprayed edges and stuff like that with no weird wear marks, even before the book's been opened and read. So I'm hoping the rest of the gilding doesn't start flaking off while I actually read the book, because I do read every single book that I get eventually. So I will be reading this book, here in my office or in my bed or in, on my couch. And I treat the books extremely well, and if the gilding starts flaking off in my hands while I'm reading it, that's going to be kind of an issue. If it's maybe just happened during the manufacturing process and it's not going to get worse, then I can deal with that. Not a big deal for me. Some people are who, you know, has to be 100% mint perfect book. I've heard some people have contacted Folio Society. They had worse wear than what I show, and they were getting a replacement. For me, I'm going to keep it, but I would like, maybe they can send me a replacement clamshell. The foil on the lettering is kind of not the greatest, but the big thing is having a miscentered and crooked moby-dick label. The letterpress label is kind of annoying because you're just looking at it, and it's always, now maybe because I've seen it and I spotted it, now I can't not look at it. It's crooked. You know, it's only probably 4 degrees, 5 degrees, but once you see it, you can't unsee it. If you don't notice it, then you probably be fine with it. And it's, since these are, I guess, hand glued, handmade, maybe only a few people had this issue, and I'm just one of the unlucky ones. So dealing with maybe a replacement clamshell a lot easier than dealing with a replacement book because it is numbered and all this other stuff. And I'm sure they'd only have a few extra copies, and yeah. So the book itself, I'm fine with, even with the wear and gilding, but the clamshell, it'd be cool if I get another one. So I'll see and report back if maybe if I do go down that route and ask for a replacement or not. We'll see. Anyways, sorry for rambling on. Feel free to subscribe to the channel if you enjoy content like this. I'll be trying to put out more videos more frequently than I have been up until recently. And hopefully I'll see you guys in the next one. Anyways, have a good one. See ya.